Imagine getting a performance review at work. Right. But the ultimate promotion, like the very top tier, requires you to actively look forward to your own death.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's
Right.
intense.
Not just accept that you're going to die someday, but actually joyfully anticipate the exact moment your heart stops beating.
That is a wildly high bar.
It really is. And today we're looking at a literal checklist that makes all of our, modern obsession with productivity and self-optimization look like total child's play.
Oh, absolutely.
Welcome to our brand new deep dive, by the way. Today we are unpacking a highly specific spiritual document. It was written in 2023 by an author named Sui Feng, and it's literally titled, Check if you have cultivated into a 1,000-year realm immortal.
Yeah, and it basically functions as this 8-point diagnostic tool for a very specific type of spiritual practitioner.
Right.
In the text, they refer to these individuals as genuine grass. And to really grasp this checklist, you first kind of have to understand that term.
Because it's an interesting choice of words, right? Like grass.
Exactly. So in a lot of Eastern philosophical traditions, Chan relates to meditation or like a state of Zen, and Yuen points to a source or an origin. But the choice of grass is just, it's the key to their whole worldview.
Because grass is, it's humble.
Right. It doesn't build these towering monuments to its own ego, like a massive oak tree would. When a really violent storm comes through, the rigid tree snaps in half.
But the grass just bows.
Exactly. It simply bows to the wind. It survives by offering zero resistance. So this document is the ultimate test to see if a practitioner has achieved that absolute, frictionless adaptability.
The kind that lets them break free from the cycle of reincarnation entirely.
Yes, that's the ultimate goal.
So we're going to guide you through these 8 criteria today, just to see how a typical secular modern life, the kind you and I live, measures up against the requirements for a ticket out of the human cycle and into this 1,000-year paradise.
It's quite the reality check, honestly.
It really is. And the text establishes a very clear baseline before you can even dream of ascending. Basically, you can't move upward if you are anchored downward.
Yeah, makes sense.
Right. Okay, let's unpack this. Point 1 mandates having absolutely zero earthly ties.
Zero.
Zero connections to secular society, and zero worries or attachments in the heart.
The psychological weight of that demand is just staggering when you actually consider how human identity is formed.
Right, because we are defined by our ties.
Exactly. From a purely developmental standpoint, you figure out who you are through your connections to other people. You are someone's child or someone's friend, an employee at a specific company, a citizen of a specific town.
Your entire ego is essentially just a web of relationships.
Yeah, a web of earthly ties.
Yeah.
So point 1 isn't suggesting you merely set healthier boundaries or spend less time answering emails at the office.
Right. It's not a self-care routine.
No, not at all. It demands the complete and radical emotional severing of the web itself.
And then Suefeng's text pushes that concept even further into physical reality with point 2.
Oh yeah, the paradox.
Yes, this fascinating paradox where the practitioner must have nothing, yet possess everything.
Which sounds poetic, but...
But Shifeng defines this literally as being entirely free from the worries of food, clothing, shelter, transport, aging, and sickness.
Right.
But wait, let's look at the actual physics of human survival for a second here.
Okay, let's do it.
If modern minimalism is just cleaning out your closet, this checklist is like deleting their entire existence from the cloud.
That's a great way to put it.
Because if you strip away all earthly attachments, you still inhabit a biological form, right? A body that requires a specific core temperature to literally survive.
Sure, biology doesn't stop.
If it's freezing outside, a psychological lack of attachment doesn't magically prevent hypothermia. So does the text expect a person to physically transcend their biology? Or is this just an extreme psychological denial of basic human survival needs?
Well, the mechanism here isn't magic, right?
Yeah.
It's a profound shift in consciousness and identification.
Okay, how so?
The text isn't claiming your physical body won't freeze in the snow. It's claiming that your consciousness no longer identifies with the physical body's survival as its primary objective.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so the anxiety of lack, the worry about not having a winter coat or a warm shelter, that's what causes the suffering.
The worrying about it.
Exactly. If you completely let go of the fear of losing your physical form, the concept of lacking a coat just disappears. You, quote-unquote, possess everything because you've eliminated the internal state of needing anything.
Right, so the universe either provides the shelter or your physical body expires.
Yes. And either way, your mind remains in a state of absolute, unshakable peace.
Which brings us perfectly to point 7, because we can actually test the reality of that peace.
Yeah, point 7 is intense.
The text provides a deeply practical, visceral test for this level of detachment. It says if you are asked to leave for another place immediately, you must be able to depart within minutes without missing a single person, event, or thing.
It's so hard to even imagine.
I want you to mentally place yourself in your own home right now, okay? You're sitting on the couch.
Okay.
Dinner is cooking on the stove. Your dog is asleep on your foot. Your phone is resting on the table, and it holds every photo and text message that tethers you to your life.
Yep, my whole world.
The call comes. You have 3 minutes.
Oh, man.
You stand up, walk to the front door, turn the handle, and leave. You never check the stove. You don't say goodbye to the dog.
That's the hardest part.
And you don't feel a single pang of longing for the life you are leaving behind.
It is the absolute elimination of nostalgia, which is incredibly difficult because nostalgia is actually biologically comforting to us.
Right. It feels good to remember things fondly.
Yeah, our brains literally use past experiences and emotional connections as a predictive model to keep us safe in the future.
Oh, interesting.
So to walk out that door without a backward glance means you have effectively died to your old life without your heart actually stopping.
Wow.
You've severed the internal anchor to the past, which is arguably much heavier than the anchor to physical possessions.
And once you abandon that physical world, the only thing left to cling to is the internal world, your own ego.
Right.
Which brings us to the next massive psychological hurdle in the text. How do you conquer the ultimate universal fear of the end?
Death.
Exactly. Point 3 requires that if you are told you will die immediately, you feel absolute zero fear.
None at all.
Instead, you joyfully open your arms to welcome death.
What's fascinating here is that from an evolutionary biology standpoint, this requires completely overriding millions of years of hardwiring.
Because we are built to survive.
Every single cell in the human body is designed to relentlessly fight for survival. Fear of death is the ultimate protective mechanism. I mean, it's the reason we instinctively pull our hand back from a hot stove.
Yeah, without even thinking.
Exactly. So point 3 demands an active, joyous anticipation of death. It requires treating the end of your biological existence not as a tragedy, but as an arrival.
An arrival? I like that. But here's where it gets really interesting. To anticipate death, like a highly anticipated promotion, your current psychological slate has to be flawlessly clean, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You can't welcome an ending if you feel there's unfinished business.
No, not at all.
So point 4 addresses this by demanding a state of consciousness that is entirely wiped clean of regret, hatred, and sorrow, leaving only gratitude, contentment, and satisfaction.
Like completely reformatting a hard drive.
Yes, exactly like formatting a hard drive, wiping the operating system of all human trauma and regret. But I struggle with the practical application of this.
How so?
Well, there is this Japanese art form called kintsugi.
Oh, with the pottery?
Yeah, where broken pottery is repaired using lacquer mixed with powdered gold. The philosophy is that the breakage and the repair are part of the history of an object rather than something to disguise or be ashamed of.
Right, the scars make it beautiful.
Exactly. And human regret kind of functions similarly, doesn't it? We learn from our failures.
We do.
If you completely erase all sorrow and regret and you replace it with pure contentment, don't you also erase the vital lessons learned from your past mistakes? Like if you throw away the broken bowl entirely instead of repairing it, how do you hold any wisdom?
That's a great question, but the text approaches wisdom from a completely different paradigm than our typical secular understanding.
Okay, tell me more about that.
Well, in a conventional human life, we use the pain of regret as a guardrail. Like you said, we remember the pain of a mistake so we don't repeat it.
Right, touching the hot stove.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the state of consciousness described in this checklist relies on absolute, unbroken present moment awareness.
Present moment awareness.
Yeah. The practitioner doesn't need the scar tissue of past trauma to tell them how to act in the present.
Because they're just there.
Their alignment with reality is so perfect, so finely tuned, that they naturally navigate the world without needing negative emotions to guide them.
Wow. So they don't need the guardrails anymore.
Right. They aren't throwing away the broken bowl. They've transcended the need for a vessel entirely, because they're no longer trying to contain or hoard their experiences.
They're simply experiencing them and letting them go.
Exactly.
So we have a practitioner who has no earthly possessions, zero connections to society, and has completely formatted their consciousness to erase all regret and fear of death.
A very light traveler.
Extremely light. But the natural question you are probably asking yourself right now as you listen to this is, how does a person in this extreme state of detachment actually exist in a physical space on a random Tuesday?
Right, like going to the grocery store.
Exactly. How do they walk down a crowded sidewalk or interact with a cashier? Well, Sufeng's text outlines this in points 5 and 6.
This is where it gets into harmony.
Point 5 mandates living in total harmonious coexistence with the surrounding environment, life, and people, meaning absolutely no rifts, disputes, or discord.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, think about the physics of fluid dynamics.
Okay, I'm with you.
When a river flows down a mountain and encounters a massive boulder, the water doesn't experience a quote-unquote rift with the rock.
No, it just keeps moving.
Right, it doesn't attempt to argue with the boulder or force it to move out of the way. The water simply yields. It flows over it, around it, adapting its shape perfectly to the container of the present moment without losing its own fundamental nature.
And that ties right into point 6, which specifically defines this as supreme adaptability. It says no matter where you are, you must be able to adapt to circumstances, go with the flow of fate, act according to your true nature, and respond perfectly to the moment.
Like water.
So what does this all mean in practice? It's like being a spiritual ninja, moving through a crowded room without bumping into a single person.
Yeah, totally frictionless.
Right. So if a practitioner loses their job, they don't dispute it, they flow with that fate. If someone cuts them off in traffic, they don't honk or experience anger, they just adapt to the new space on the road. But wait, applying this frictionless model to a deeply flawed physical reality raises a significant logistical and, honestly, philosophical roadblock for me.
I think I know where you're going with this.
If you commit to having absolutely zero disputes with anyone, ever, what happens when you witness an injustice?
Oh, yes.
If you see someone actively being harmed and you step in to intervene, you are inherently creating friction, right? You are initiating a dispute with the wrongdoer.
You are.
So the strategy here isn't to put out the fire, it's just to find the nearest fire escape and leave everyone else in the burning building. Doesn't harmony sometimes require conflict? That feels almost cynical, doesn't it?
It definitely directly challenges our secular definition of morality, which is largely based on action and intervention.
Right, doing the right thing.
But within the framework of this specific spiritual document, the secular world, with all its injustices, pain, and chaos, is literally the machinery of reincarnation.
It's the testing ground.
Exactly. It's the testing ground. If a practitioner becomes embroiled in worldly disputes, even for a completely righteous and noble cause, they are creating a new earthly tie.
Oh, I see.
They are generating new karma, forming a new attachment that anchors them right back to the human realm.
So by fighting the machine, you're plugging yourself back into it.
Exactly. The overarching goal of the Chanyun grass is not to repair the machinery of the human world. The goal is to successfully prove you no longer need the machine, allowing you to exit it permanently.
And if you successfully navigate that exit, the text finally reveals the payoff. Everything we have discussed today, the extreme emotional severing, the overriding of the survival instinct, the refusal to engage in worldly friction, it all builds toward the 8th and final point.
The reward.
Yes. Point 8 describes the daily lived reality of someone who has actually mastered the checklist. It says it is a mental state of pure happiness, joy, freedom, and bliss with zero mental pressure. The practitioner feels an infinite yearning for a beautiful future, where their inner nature blooms brilliantly. And I want you to genuinely try to comprehend what zero mental pressure feels like for even 10 seconds.
It's almost impossible.
No lingering anxiety about the emails you haven't answered, no subtle dread about the aging of your physical body, no guilt about a clumsy conversation you had 3 years ago, just a continuous, unbroken expanse of joy.
This raises an important question, though, about the architecture of human happiness.
What do you mean?
Well, in our current state, our joy is almost always defined by contrast.
Oh, sure.
The relief of the weekend only exists because of the pressure of the work week. The joy of a warm, comforting meal is potent because we understand the discomfort of hunger.
We need the dark to see the light.
Exactly. We rely on tension to give our happiness meaning. So if you completely remove all pressure, all friction, and all lack, does bliss lose its definition?
That's a great point.
Or is the text suggesting that our reliance on contrast is merely a symptom of an underdeveloped consciousness,
Mm.
and that this pressure-free bliss is actually the ultimate evolutionary goal of a mind that has finally woken up?
Schweffing is absolutely clear that this is the ultimate goal. The text offers a profound promise at the end. If you meet all 8 points, it essentially hands you your spiritual diploma.
You've graduated.
Right. It says, congratulations, you have cultivated successfully, no more reincarnation, your future is bright and unimaginably beautiful.
It's quite the send-off.
It's like gaining access to an exclusive, ultra VIP lounge at the airport of the afterlife. You have the golden ticket and you get to permanently skip the reincarnation waiting line. Upon leaving the human world, the practitioner transitions smoothly to the 1,000-year realm to enjoy 1,000 years of infinite scenery and life joy.
An entire dimension built on frictionless harmony.
Exactly.
And what's interesting is the text also introduces this fascinating hierarchy of immortality.
Oh, right. There are levels to this.
Yeah. It notes that the 1,000-year realm isn't even the absolute ceiling. A practitioner could choose to climb even higher to the quote-unquote 10,000-year realm, or the Elysium Island Archipelago.
Wow.
But mastering these 8 specific points is the baseline requirement. It secures your entry-level immortality and permanently revokes your membership to the human cycle of suffering.
But the author is equally clear about the alternative, right? If you honestly review this 8-point checklist and you find that you haven't reached all of these states, your journey isn't over.
Right, you aren't condemned.
No, you simply have to continue your cultivation. You are still tethered, so you will return to the physical world to keep working on your detachment.
It frames spiritual growth as an ongoing continuum rather than a punitive pass or fail exam.
Which is somewhat comforting.
Yeah, there's no threat of eternal damnation for failing to leave your house in 3 minutes or for clinging to a nostalgic memory of your dog.
Right.
The text simply points out that as long as you hold on to those anchors, you will remain in the harbor. When you are truly ready to sail, you'll drop the weight yourself.
We have covered incredible, deeply challenging ground today. We took a deep dive into an 8-point spiritual checklist that demands the absolute reversal of essentially everything modern society values.
Complete paradigm shift.
We looked at the mechanics of severing our emotional and physical anchors to the cloud of human existence. We explored the radical biological override required to joyfully anticipate the end of our own lives.
And the psychological formatting required to erase every ounce of human regret.
Yes. We unpacked what it means to move through a flawed world like water, offering zero friction, all for the ultimate promise of ascending to a 1,000-year realm of pressure-free bliss.
And whether you view this document as a literal map to a higher dimension or simply a fascinating philosophical thought experiment, its real value lies in the mirror it holds up to our daily lives.
It really does.
It exposes just how much energy we expend clinging to our identities, defending our egos in minor disputes, and carrying the heavy stones of our past regrets. It challenges the assumption that our complex, friction-filled lives are the only way to exist.
It definitely changes the way you look at your daily obligations. The next time you feel a surge of stress about being stuck in traffic or a wave of anxiety over a disagreement with a friend, you can view it through the lens of the genuine grass.
You're just experiencing the friction of the human machinery.
Exactly. But before we sign off today, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to ponder on your own.
Okay.
Imagine you actually succeed. You follow the checklist perfectly. You sever all your earthly connections, leaving your friends and family without a single backward glance. You completely erase all your past regrets, wiping away the hard-won wisdom born from your mistakes. You remove every ounce of friction, desire, and worldly passion from your heart until you are perfectly smooth and perfectly detached.
Completely empty.
Right. If you strip all of those deeply emotional elements away, would you still fundamentally be you? Or is the ultimate price of securing your 1,000-year immortality the complete and total erasure of the very humanity that makes this brief, chaotic life beautiful in the first place?